We were looking to target media buyers. Well, where do they spend their time all day, every day? Excel spreadsheets. We basically created a media plan, and once the media buyer opened it up through email, the media plan actually turned into the first ever music video produced inside an Excel spreadsheet.
Thrilled to be here with Bridget Evans, who is the head of B2B marketing at Spotify. Bridget, thank you for joining us at the Future CMOs Summit.
Me.
How's it been so far?
Amazing. This place is incredible, and yeah, I'm in great company. So thanks for having me.
You've added so much to so many of these discussions, especially bringing this B2B lens. I think many of the other future CMOs here we have are a little bit more B2C focused, but Bridget keeps it business. And I want to ask you a couple of questions sort of around how you think about marketing to this B2B audience. Spotify is obviously a beloved platform for consumers, synonymous with music, culture. What is one marketing lesson that you've learned that you think every next generation CMO should be thinking about?
That B2B marketing doesn't have to be boring. You're reaching the same people, they're consumers too, through the same channels, whether that be media or, out of home or events or whatever. And so it's all about finding just creative ways to bring the B2B message to life, but it doesn't have to be so corporate and so boring.
You've done a lot of very fun campaigns, including your spreadsheet campaign. Can you give us a little insight into that one?
Yes. Oh my gosh, this was such a fun campaign to work on. So what we essentially did is we were looking to target media buyers, and we were thinking through how can we kind of surprise and delight them while landing our message that Spotify is not just audio. We have video ads too. And so we're like, well, where do they spend their time all day, every day? Excel spreadsheets. So we actually took our message, we took over an Excel document. We basically created a media plan. And once the media buyer opened it up through email, the media plan actually turned into the first ever music video produced inside an Excel spreadsheet. So it was a real ownable campaign, had music involved. We partnered with an artist, and then at the end of the day, we reached them in a new channel, which is a spreadsheet.
I think that is the first ever creative experiential activation that included an Excel spreadsheet I had ever seen. I know our team was going bananas for it. And consumers today are inundated with content and entertainment options. How does your team ensure that Spotify advertising stands out in a way that feels authentic, culturally relevant, and unique?
Well, I think I'm very fortunate in that Spotify itself is the most culturally relevant platform ever. And so something that we're just trying to do is use our assets more, meaning podcasters, musicians. They can be emerging, our own employees. So it's really about taking any insights that we might have, our own first-party data, what playlists people are listening to, what terms are people using when they're creating playlists, and then how can we turn that into content or into other forms of media that ultimately spotlight the podcast and the music culture on our platform.
So fun. And how do you balance global brand campaigns without regional and local relevance, knowing that your remit spans wide?
It's really tough, actually, because, just a couple nuances that are extremely important are, in markets like Japan, for example, there's really no audio market there. So we actually take more of a video and a multi-format first message, where in other markets like the US, Spotify has been synonymous with audio. So we have to take a local approach in everything that we do. We know through value proposition research, through endless testing, that there are some things that are just core to the Spotify advertising brand, like we're trusted, we're a positive platform, people come here for culture, it's very relevant. So there are those through lines that we take, and we use those as insights for our global campaigns. But at the end of the day, if we're running a campaign in a market like India or in a market like the UK, it's going to look very differently. And so we really just have to tap into local expertise. Another example of this is we have this program called Spotify Hits, which we have successfully executed in India, Japan, Brazil, and really what this is our way of awarding our own clients and agencies and brands with awards for their creative. That's an example of something that we really lean into in certain markets, and have other ideas and activations for other markets.
I love that because that's also so uniquely ownable.
It is. And everyone loves a trophy.
This is true. In a world where AI and automation are everywhere, and I'm sure working at a tech company, that's a big through line in a lot of your communications. What marketing tasks at Spotify do you intentionally keep human, and why?
Yes, creative, absolutely. The one thing that AI can't solve for is taste. And so much of any brand success on our platform, or really any platform, comes down to creative as that variable, which Vayner talks about that all the time. So we're not outsourcing our creative and our assets. We have a very strong brand identity that we stick to, and while we're trying to automate, project management and maybe some areas of growth marketing, CRM, et cetera, at the end of the day, how we show up and what we look like is still very human on our team.
And can you share an example of a campaign or initiative where your team took a big creative risk and how that might have paid off?
Yes, absolutely. It's called Tutorials. I'm also smiling because this is another one that I'm really excited about. We launched this back in September. So we had these insights that a lot of our audience was facing, this barrier to using Spotify ads, or this barrier, everything from how to install a pixel to, I didn't know that you had more than audio ads. And so we took these insights, and rather than just creating educational enablement, we figured, why don't we actually use our own platform to answer these questions? So we actually created songs and full-on music videos with artists, and we turned our education into tutorials that were tutorials, so music videos. We, of course, created an album on Spotify that we dropped. We also created vinyls, and we had a lot of fun with essentially answering their questions and solving for those barriers, but through songs. And the reason why I say it's creative risk is, of course, it took a lot of time and effort into creating those assets, but we also did a whole media campaign behind it. And I think that the idea in itself could potentially be a little cheesy if you do it the wrong way, but we really let the artist's art shine through, both in like the music videos and also with how we ultimately designed the album. And it was very high quality. It looks great, and we're really happy with the performance of that.
Like, artists are another big, just integral part of so many of your different campaigns and initiatives. And collaboration just seems like a huge part of what you all do, just given the inherent nature of the platform. How do you approach these campaigns where artists are collaborators and really have a voice in shaping the story?
Yes. Well, first of all, I would say that we haven't done as many as I'd like to do because partnering with artists requires
more is more.
Yeah, but I think there's like money involved in that.
Yes.
But when you do it, you have to do it right. It absolutely has to be their voice, their look and feel. Like, they have to be a part of that brief. Tutorials is actually the perfect example. How we could have approached it could have been, okay, we have these 6 artists that are going to create songs and we'll produce the music videos, and we want all of the music videos to be of Spotify's look and feel and Spotify's brand, and have it kind of all look like matching luggage. We decided, no, let's make sure that we're really leaning into their identity and their look and feel and their personalities and what they're known for and why their fans like them. So every music video actually has an entirely different art direction. One is animated, one is dancing and in an opera, like completely different. But I think that's actually what made it so special, because then we can really speak to their fans and why people love them, and extend our reach versus kind of pushing our own branding, because we already had the message there. So it just gave them more creative opportunity and made them want to be a part of the campaign.
Yeah, it made it so much more authentic. Then they're going to share it more. They're going to talk about it more. They're going to feel more ownership over it.
Yes, 100%.
Looking ahead, where do you think that next frontier of marketing will be for a platform like Spotify, where it's music, culture, fandom, social? Where's the next frontier that you're taking this team?
I think, we've talked a lot about this here, or at least it's been mentioned. I think the blend of digital and IRL is becoming bigger for Spotify, and I think that's becoming more important and bigger for people. And so what I mean by that is next frontier in marketing, I think, will be a blend of, okay, you might be investing as an advertiser or a brand in this live event, which Spotify offers that. We partner with brands all of the time.
The Grammys,
exactly.
All these places.
Yes. And so we do, live concerts in partnership with brands or based on our own franchises like Rap Caviar, Fresh Finds. We bring those playlists to life in IRL. But then it also becomes a larger story than just a moment in time. It's capturing all of the content there. It's running ads on Spotify as well and making it a lot more holistic and 360. And it also extends the life of any artist partnerships that brand might have to, reach their fans at the live event, but then again, reach a wider net and additional fans through all of the digital reach that they'll get.
Can't believe we've made it this far in the podcast without talking about Spotify Wrapped, which is an iconic campaign that you've also added a little B2B spin into.
Yes, I've been so excited about that too. Yeah, my team has done Wrapped for advertisers for quite a few years, before my time here too. But this year, I think the most exciting one for us was that we were able to offer advertisers Wrapped reports in our actual product. And so anyone who uses Spotify Ads Manager to run their ads was able this year to go into Spotify Ads Manager and see really interesting insights throughout the year from how their campaigns performed, as well as different audience insights that may have not known about before. So that product connection was really special this year and allowed us to reach a lot more advertisers than we have in years past.
So fun, and also feels so uniquely integrated. How do you think about surround sounding that moment? So yes, there's a media buyer who's actually in there, but then the CMO might not themselves personally be there. How do you think about telling that story 360?
Yeah, so it's really just different content and different channels. We, partnered with eMarketer, and we had, some thought leadership come out about what some of these trends mean for advertisers across different verticals. We also turned it into enablement material, so our sales team could have conversations with clients around, here are the top 10 trends that we saw this year by market, and here's what this could mean for you. And then we also had events around the world. So we had one in Australia, we had one in London, so that we could actually reach those CMO and more senior brand audiences, and have discussions around creative insights that we learned from the year prior and how those are applicable for 2026. So we kind of took the essence of Wrapped for advertisers and just really brought it to life across different audiences around the world and different
Literally
channels.
brought it to life.
Yes, exactly.
Amazing. Bridget, thank you so much for joining us in Marketing for the Now.
Thanks for having me.